It was the spring of 1949. A young 22-year-old wife and mother was faced with the alarming prospect of losing her entire family. She was a pastor's wife, and her 28-year-old husband and her 2.5-year-old son were both 60 miles from home in a hospital in Abilene, Texas, diagnosed with polio. The prognosis was not good. Neither was expected to live. In addition, her second son, at the age of 6 months, was fighting pneumonia. That young woman, like so many others of her generation, would not quit when circumstances seemed bleak. She made multiple road trips each week between the hospital in Abilene and her home in Haskell, where the younger son was being cared for by her sister. As weary as she would not give in to what she considered the ultimate defeat. The husband and the older son both had bulbar polio, and she was told it would likely prove fatal when it reached the brain. As the story was told to me, the young pastor had a near-death experience and remembered walking up a massive marble staircase toward the most brilliant and peaceful light he had ever seen when he was suddenly back in his hospital bed. Doctors were astounded when, by nothing short of a miracle, both the young pastor and the 2.5-year-old son survived. That pastor was my dad. That courageous young woman was my mom. Doctors told her that I would live with the right side of my face paralyzed for the rest of my life. I would never smile with the right side of my mouth. I would be required to manually close my right eye when it was time to sleep. That eye would never blink or wink. Once again, my mother, against all practicality, stood up to the odds and began looking for the next miracle. She found Dr. Hazel Robinson in our little town of Haskell, Texas. Over the course of the next 6 months, that chiropractic angel eliminated every effect of the paralysis that I was supposed to carry for the rest of my life. I could have been another story like so many others who lived and died in iron lungs over the course of 60 years, but I was not. From the time I was old enough to understand my own story, I have considered every single day of my life as a miracle that required me to find ways to give back. I've never had to suffer through or even encounter the residual effects of polio until I began traveling overseas as an adult and saw the devastation that so many of the world's people endure. As a young polio survivor, all I had to do was run across the yard, and I believed in miracles. My ability to breathe outside of an iron lung was a miracle. Every time I smiled with both sides of my mouth, I knew what a miracle felt like. And to this day, if I pass you in a crowded room or hallway, I may not say anything, I might not wave, but if I smile and wink at you, I guarantee you I'm relishing my miracle.
We are this close.
We're this close.
We are this close.
Of wanting
To making history.
This close to changing the world.
We're this close.
This close. This close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease.
Ever again.
This close.
We are this close to ending polio.
Ending polio.
All we need is you.
This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.